Guys, Kevin Gaspar for this week of Big Brother 17, episodes 33 through 35. And I was really looking forward to this week because, of course, the double eviction I was actually a fan of. I know a lot of people weren't. I don't think it was the best move that they could have done. But I think it was a pretty good double eviction because I was hoping that this week would be the week where we finally get a switch in power. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that that's what we've wanted for most of this season. And we just haven't gotten that. And I was really hoping that would happen this week, and I have to say, while I wasn't a huge fan of the outcome of this week, this was a pretty great week. Definitely one of the better weeks, I think, for Big Brother. One of the most intense weeks by far. It really had everything I want to see in a Big Brother episode. It had the drama. It had some unpredictable stuff. I mean, it was a pretty unpredictable week, and I really like seeing that. I think we've gotten some good stuff, like, from that this season, but we've kind of been in this slump lately where it's been very predictable, and it hasn't been as exciting, but I really feel this was one of those weeks where it was exciting, and I was really into it. So, let's just get into it. Of course, the double eviction happened with James, and James, of course, was evicted, which the house guests are a little bit upset about, because, you know, they like James, and they didn't want to get rid of him, but, like I said, he probably was the biggest threat to Liz, Julia, and Vanessa, and in order for them to keep that, they had to get rid of James, because he would have definitely come after them, and he definitely was strong. So, I know a lot of people were questioning why didn't James try to fight. I watched an interview with him, and he basically said that he just kind of felt defeated after he... I watched, like, its exit interview, and he pretty much said that he kind of felt defeated after what happened with Liz, and that he just didn't feel he could really do it anymore. So I can understand that. I mean, in a double eviction, it's not like a regular week. A double eviction, you have only so much time to figure things out. You have to go with whatever's going on, and you really don't have a lot of time to say to the HOH, okay, here's why you should keep me, da-da-da, things like that. There's really no time to do that. So I can understand why James really didn't try to do anything, because I think he knew that he was definitely leaving the second that Liz won, definitely. So let's just get into it. So basically after this happens... they're all really excited that it's Final Six and everything, and basically the main goal now is for Liz and Austin and Julie and Vanessa to take out Johnny Mac or Steve. That's what they want to do next, but that's not what ends up happening. Of course, we get to the big competition, and of course, it's the same competition that usually is for when we're down to Final 5, which we're actually down to Final 6. What's surprising, I've said this to you guys before, is that I think this is the first time where we had a regular week when it was after, the second double eviction, minus last year, which I don't count as the reset week. I don't count that as a regular week because I didn't review that for you guys because, it's just a reset. But in terms of, regular weeks where, Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think this was one of the first times where we had a regular week, and it was interesting to see. But basically, it's the competition I always really like, where you have to remember the house guests that were evicted. They always pick the first 5, which I really don't understand. I think they haven't always done that, but they always keep, like, talking about the first 5 house guests, and basically Steve ended up taking it, which I was very happy about, because finally we got a switch in power here. Julia, Liz, Austin, and Vanessa, Julia, Liz, and Austin, the Ost twins, are not necessarily with Steve right now. So I was really wondering what he was going to do, and I was really thinking, Steve, don't do something stupid, because as you guys know, I'm very much in the middle with Steve. The reason I've not been a big fan of Steve this season is just because I feel he could have done a lot more. Now, I know that Steve is very under pressure, and he's kind of a pussy. I will definitely admit that. But I think the way Steve is as HOH, he definitely did a good job this week. And it really made up for his really, really bad HOH. One of the worst HOH of the season. Not the worst. The worst HOH was Austin's HOH, where he got out Johnny Mac, and then Johnny Mac came right back into the house. It was nothing, and that week was obviously pointless. So it wasn't as bad as that, but it was definitely one of the worst weeks, I think, of the season, was Steve's, and I count it as a week because it was a double eviction. So basically, Steve, Liz, and Julia and Austin feel pretty confident because, they've been with Steve, but the problem is everyone in the house is friends at this point. So I'm just thinking you guys probably shouldn't feel safe because they're standing in your way. We know Steve has come to win. He's thought that he's his mastermind. I have to say, the way he did handle things, I thought was pretty good. Because you can tell right away who his targets are. He wants to work with Vanessa and Johnny Mac, obviously, and I gotta say, I haven't been a huge fan of Vanessa, this whole season, but recently I have been a huge fan of her. I mean, I think she is playing a fantastic game, especially this week. This week, she really did a great job because she basically does what she wants done. And the thing I love is that we don't really know what's going through her head, so we don't know if this is necessarily what she wants or if this was her entire plan, but it always works out in her favor, which I think is very interesting the way that goes. So Steve first decides to talk to Austin because he wants to make a deal with Austin. But here's the thing with making a deal with the Aust twins. Don't do it. Just don't do it because they don't say, okay, you're guaranteed, Final two with me. That's what he should have said. What Austin does say is, oh, you're guaranteed Final Four. You do realize Final Four is in 2 weeks, right? The Final Four, that means nothing at this point. If you say Final anything, that means nothing. Final Two means nothing. Final Two really is the only thing that means something, is Final Two. Final Four means nothing. Final Four is next week. It's happening next week, and, whether Austin wants it to or not, that's what it means. And saying, you're guaranteed Final Four really, I think, means nothing. So that really was kind of stupid that Austin said that. But you can tell right away that Steve's main target is Liz and Austin, and that's who he decides to put up. And I was happy that he did that and actually not go with Johnny Mac. He decided to ally with Johnny Mac and Vanessa because they probably would keep him over Liz, Austin, and Julia. So he decides to put up Liz and Austin. Liz, it was really annoying this week. Extremely annoying. I could not stand her this week. The way she's crying over the way her and Julia have supposedly helped Steve. The only time I've seen them actually, be sweet to Steve and help him out is when he was fake crying over getting rid of Jackie. That's the only time I can really imagine it. And the other times they were kind of making fun of him and things like that. I mean, if you guys don't know, we don't see it on the, show, but Liz and Julie basically this entire season have just talked shit. They've talked shit about everyone, and that's pretty much what they've done. That's why a lot of people don't really like Liz and Julia. I mean, personally, I don't give a shit if what they say. I really don't. I think it matters more of how you play rather than what you say. Yes, playing a social game is important, but shit-talking people, that's fine. I mean, everyone does it pretty much. I think if you're on Big Brother, that's kind of a thing. I know that's an idiotic statement, but it's true. I think pretty much everyone at some point shit-talks someone. Now, I don't think they shit-talk as much as Liz and Julia, but I do think at some point everyone just starts, shitting on someone. That's Big Brother for you. That's how it works. You start to get sick of these people. When you're in the house for 80-something days, you start to get sick of them. It's just, I probably would as well. I mean, 80-something days, that's a little too much, come on, maybe cut it down a bit. I haven't had a problem with that this season, but definitely next season, I do feel they need to cut things down a bit, because this is getting a bit tiring. I definitely will say that. Still really liking the season, but it's just getting a bit tiring, I think. So, Liz, even though she knew she was going up, because she had a conversation with Steve that we did not see, but she did have a conversation with him, she's crying like whatever. She leaves the nomination ceremony the second she goes up, and that's are you Audrey now? What are you doing here? I was laughing every time Liz was crying. She was driving me insane. I could not stand Liz this week. It was just so annoying to see her cry, honestly. So annoying, and it's we've seen enough of this. And plus, she's the one that's talking shit about all these people crying, yet she's crying. What the fuck, Liz? Why are you crying? There's nothing to cry over. You knew you were going. It's Final 6. What do you expect? There's got to be a blind sign there, and yeah. Now, I know people are saying, oh, why didn't they target Oz twins earlier this season? I think it's just because they weren't as much of a threat as some other players were. James, I think, could have been a bigger threat, if he would have done more, that is, than, the Oz twins, because James, got out Shelly, and he did successfully. He basically got out who he wanted to get out, on his HOH. That's what happened there. Actually, no, that was Becky that did that, but James did get out Clay, so I think that's why people are threatened by James. I think that's why they got him out, and also you had people like Becky and Jackie and things like that. There were bigger threats in the house than the Oz twins. Yeah, and plus, Vanessa is pretty much the puppet master. She's the one that's doing everything, and what she did in last night's episode, Vanessa needs to win this game. I don't know what will happen if Vanessa doesn't win this game, but she needs to win this game. This was genius right here. What she does, I think, was awesome. As I said, I haven't been the biggest fan of her, but these past few weeks, I've really seen the potential in her. I've really seen how great of a game player she is, and I really feel that out of all the house guests left, she definitely has a good chance of winning. Would I necessarily have said, oh, Vanessa's going to win this game like in the beginning of the season? No. I think some of the best players in this game left, like, say, Dave Vaughn. Dave Vaughn, I think if she was still there, she probably would be in the position Vanessa was at this point. Same with someone like Shelly or Becky or Jackie, people like that. They probably would have been there long. Jason, I think, as well. He probably wanted to make a big move. He just didn't really get to. Audrey, even Audrey, crazy Audrey. I think they would have gotten her out eventually, but I think if she would have played her cards right, she could have been in Vanessa's position. A lot of people could have, and Vanessa, I think, really is playing the best game here, because right away in Wednesday's episode, we go right to the Power of Veto competition, which is very rare, but that's because so much happens in this episode. And I have to say, last night's episode was one of the best episodes I think we've seen all season. I absolutely love last night's episode. I will say it was very strange to see Jessie back. I'm not the biggest Jessie fan. Jessie from Big Brother 15, however, I mean, she's like the hottest house guest ever, so I got no problem with her. She's very hot, and I'd love to see more of her. But Mr. Spectacular, I've never been a fan of. I think he's very cocky. I think he's very annoying. And plus the way they used him, I didn't think they used him the best that they could have. And I know Rob has a podcast, they said this, and I do agree too, that when you have Mr. Spectacular in there, what he needs to do is to be a distraction, basically. He needs to distract the HOH. He needs to distract the house guests from making a big move. He needs to annoy them. He needs to do something that annoys them just for, good TV and make it and have it be really funny and have them and get on their nerves. That's what he's there for. He really had nothing to do here other than make Austin jealous, which was funny to watch. I definitely will say that. Austin is obviously crushed. He's on the block with Liz at this point. You can tell he's crushed over it, and it was coming. I mean, I don't understand how they didn't see this coming. I really don't understand that, because they knew they were a threat. I don't know if they knew they were a threat, but they definitely should have, because if they were smart, they would, which they're really not. I have to say, the Oz Twins really are not the smartest. And I'm going to talk about why I think the Oz Twins really didn't get to do much, and they could have done a lot more. I personally think they could, and I'll get to that. But basically, the POV... I hate this POV. I really hate this competition. I hate it. I really do. It's like the Big Brother 15 one with Amanda McRae when Amanda left, when they had to spin in circles and then the bowling ball. I hate this competition. I really do. It doesn't really require anything except for strength and making you dizzy, and I really think it's a pointless competition. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I really hope they don't do it anymore. But they seem to always do it when power duos leave. Like when Amanda left McRae, that's the last time it did, and now they're doing it with Liz, and when the Oz Twins are the targets. That's what's going on there. So it gets pretty heated, I have to say. It definitely gets pretty heated, but it really gets crazy once Vanessa talks to Julia. Now, Julia, I will say, is not the smartest house guest. She's not Daniel Murphy, Victoria Raffaelli dumb, but she is pretty, she is not the brightest, I definitely will say. I think Julia's biggest problem is that she really didn't get to do much because she was always with Liz, and she was always allied with Liz. So whatever Liz did, she did. She really had no choice but to do that, because she knew if she wasn't with Liz and if she went against Liz, she probably would have got evicted, sooner than she thought. And I think that's really why Julia did what she did. A lot of people are saying she's dumb. I don't think Julia's dumb. I think she basically just didn't really get to do a lot and didn't really know her place this season. Me, personally, if they ever do a twin twist again, I honestly think what they should do is basically have both of them enter at the same time, or do something where they don't know that they're both going in the same time. Have one come in one day, have the other come in the other day, and then have them maybe switch out every day. But they know who each twin is. Like, one day, say Liz and Julie, they entered together, but Liz is in, 1 week, then Julie is the next week, then Liz the next week, then Julie the next week. That could have been a lot more compelling than what they did, and what they did, I think, was a cool idea, but because Liz and Julie, I think, weren't the best players and didn't really do much with it, it really didn't affect their overall gameplay that much. So I really feel that if they ever want to do a twin twist again, that's what they have to do. They have to step it up and do something bigger, because it was really fun to see Julia and Liz interact, and, Julia yell at Liz for being, and calling her out for being slutty and things like that. I think that was very funny. But I would definitely want to see more gameplay from them. So Vanessa basically, back to the episode, basically Vanessa asks Julia to actually, this is one of those competitions where you choose who you want to face off with. Basically show your cards, show your targets are, and she picks Austin. And Austin obviously is mortified by what's going on. He has no idea what's going on at this point. Vanessa basically told her to do this, and you can tell this was Vanessa's plan, and it's awesome that she did that. But Austin goes in a full beast mode here, like full beast mode. He just starts rolling the ball like crazy. I mean, this is a side of Austin that we never see. There's like two sides of Austin. There's a really extreme, like, pre-Jace side with, like, the guitar and everything. And then there's the hopeless romantic Austin who, like, has Liz and nothing else matters to him and things like that. Granted, I can understand that. Like, when you like a girl, that's all you kind of think about. Like, for example, there's a girl I like, and that's all I think about. I will definitely admit that. But you're playing Big Brother. You're not here to do a showmance. You're playing Big Brother, and I think we should have seen more of this Austin than we did, because I can't take this Austin seriously. If Austin would have played this kind of game throughout the season, alright, yeah, maybe I could have taken him a bit more seriously, but I couldn't. Also, I forgot to say, this was the first time Austin was ever up on the block, which is pretty impressive, but it really doesn't mean anything because he's not Derek. Derek did it in a way where no one ever targeted him. No one ever targeted Austin because he simply isn't that smart. I don't think Austin is very smart. I think he is trapped in Lizville, where he has like tunnel vision, and all he sees is Liz. That's kind of what it is, and he sees Julie as well, but when other people come in, he sees them here and there, but he really hasn't done much, and I really feel that's why I can't really take Austin seriously. So he goes into full beast mode, and he ends up winning the competition, and Liz is ready to hug him, but he does not want to do that. He wants to be Judas here, and Judas, yeah, I understand it's his wrestling name, I get that, but it really hasn't gone anywhere. He needs to stop doing this. We don't like him, we don't like Judas, it's annoying, and it's really stupid. He wears the veto around his neck, he's acting like he's king of the hill, which he kind of is at this point, just in the sense of, he's one power veto. Also, in case you guys can't tell, we don't see a lot of Johnny Mac this week, we really don't. He's there every now and again, but Johnny Mac is kind of like, I'm just waiting for him to, like, get that win. I know it's coming. I really feel soon Johnny Mac is going to get that HOH. I'm pulling for him, but I don't really know at this point. I hope he does, but there's only so much game left. There's 2 weeks left of gameplay, so I really don't know if he can, but we'll have to see. Maybe it'll be something where he wins on finale night. That could be interesting. I see Johnny Mac going to the finale. I really don't see him being a threat till, like, Final 3. I think he's going to be there till finale, and maybe then he's going to get that HOH. We'll have to see what happens there. But essentially what ends up happening is that he basically... First of all, Liz is pissed at Vanessa. She wants to know, obviously, why she wanted Julia to target Austin and why that was the goal here. And Vanessa, I like the way she plays it. She fake cries, but she does it to her advantage here, because I really don't feel this was real. A lot of people have been asking all season, is this real what Vanessa's doing? Does she believe her own lies? And I really feel this was fake. This was all, like, she had this all planned, and I think that was really smart of her to do that. And she's crying, saying, this is not my fault, when this was pretty much her plan, and that was what she wanted. Well, it seemed that way, at least. Again, we don't really get to see how she feels, which I'm not a fan of them not telling us how they feel, what their strategy is in the diary room. I'm really not a fan of that, because to me, personally, I think it shows that, like, they think they're a better game player than they are, and that America loves them more than they are. I really do like Vanessa as a game player, but I wish that we'd see more of what her strategy is, so we can say, okay, she is a really good game player, or she's just way too emotional, because we really can't figure out her, and I wish we could know more about that. That was also my problem with Derek last season, how we really couldn't tell what his main goal was, and that he would always lie in the diary room. I didn't like that really much either. So I know that probably is like a thing now for them not to really say their strategy in the diary room, But me personally, if I were to ever play this game, I would definitely say what my strategy is, because I think of a diary room like a diary. That's what I think of. Nobody else can hear me except for the people in that room. That's what I think of. It's, your own personal thoughts, your own personal secrets, and I really feel that they should just say their strategy. I know they want to keep it to themselves, but that's what the diary room is for. It's for you to vent out your thoughts. It's for you to say how you truly feel about these things. Be a Dan Giesling, be a Dr. Will, be those kind of people. Derek, I think, was a very good game player, what he did, of course, but I just wish these Vanessa and Derek share a lot of the same qualities, where they don't say how they truly feel about things in the diary room, and I wish they did, because I will say Vanessa didn't have the best diary rooms because she probably lies all the time. That really is why she doesn't have very good diary rooms. So, basically, what's happening here is that Vanessa, is saying that this is my fault and everything, and then things get really crazy between Liz and Austin, and this was awesome. I really loved seeing it. I would have, I thought this was pretty funny at points. What Liz was saying was ridiculous, but I thought it was really great TV, because Austin at this point is going around with the veto. He wants nothing to do. He's really just telling Liz that I'm not going to use this on you. He says that he's not Clay, and I will say, Clay was pretty much an idiot for getting rid of Shelly. I think Austin is saying a good point there. Don't be a Clay. Be an Austin. Don't be someone who just sacrifices your life in this game for a showmance. A showmance is simply just like an alliance. It's something that gets you further, and while I think Austin does truly care about Liz, he could definitely, you could tell, wanted to play his own game and get rid of her, and I really feel if it comes down to it, he will cut Liz if he has to. I really feel that's what's going to happen there. So Liz gets really pissed at him, says that it even seems like they're going to break up. I honestly thought they were going to break up in this episode, which could have been very interesting to see if that happened, but he's really not acting like, she thought, and he's being very rude and everything, and she really doesn't like the way that he is playing. 1 second, guys. I'm going to fix my couch because it's annoying me. Alright, but basically, she doesn't really like the way that he's playing the game, and she feels it's really annoying and everything, and I just love the way this goes on. It's really, really funny. It ultimately, eventually gets to Austin basically telling Liz, I think, the right thing, but he said it in completely the wrong context. Like, he's like, I gave up my life for you, and I'm like, you didn't give up your life, okay? You weren't in risk of dying, and you didn't take your own life for Liz. That's not what you did. What you did do is break up with your girlfriend, and then go to Liz, but I think he should have said it a little bit better. I think the problem with Austin is that he doesn't really know what to say. He says the wrong things, and he doesn't think about what he says. Like, if it was me in Austin's position, and I had, Liz, basically, if I was, Austin and I was with Liz, what I would have said is, look, I know that I'm in this showmance with you, but I never came in to find a showmance. I never meant to happen. Of course, I care about you, but I'm here to get myself further in the game, and if it comes down to it, that's what I'm going to do. And I feel if he would have said that, Liz would not have gone off on him. But I do feel this was very entertaining, because Liz is like, what are you talking about? She's obviously really upset, and she tells him she doesn't even want to talk to him and everything. And we get to what is by far one of the funniest moments of the season with Liz and Julia. This was just great, because it's Julia trying to make Liz feel better, but it's so stupid. She kicks around Austin's stuff and things like that, and it ultimately, she's making fun of him being Jewish and everything, and ultimately gets to Liz saying, you know what, he's not that, I'm gonna do my Liz voice. He's not that attractive, like, at all, and, maybe the ponytail beard would make him more attractive. I thought it was so funny that just, despite her being so pissed at him, she's like, he's not that attractive, and the ponytail beard would make him a lot more attractive if he just cut it off. And Julia's saying, he's not. It's so funny, and it's just so great to see. I've loved Liz and Julia, and it's, as much as I don't like Liz and Julia have been hilarious all season, I have to say. I've never not been a fan of Julia. I think Julia's been great. She just really hasn't gotten to show her cards, and that's what I feel has happened there. So right away, Liz and Austin decide, let's just make up. Like, they don't take some time to think about this. They decide to make up right away. And this really shows how stupid this whole thing was. Because right away, Liz just goes right up to him. They make out. They go to sleep. And I'm just like, really? Like, really? That's what you're doing here. You could have spent some time to maybe think about it. And, I don't know how much time Liz did, but it literally seemed like 2 seconds ago she hated him, and then, oh, I love him. That's what it seemed like to me. That she hated him, and then she loved him again. It was really weird, and basically what ends up happening is that, of course, Austin used the power of veto on himself, and I like that he said that he does care about her, and that he would like to use it on her, but for his gameplay, he's using it on himself. And basically what he decides to do is to, Steve decides to renum Julia, who Steve, as you can tell, really has not done a lot, in this week. Vanessa did a lot of the stuff that really changed the course of the game this week, which I think was definitely very good. We do see, though, that Johnny Mac and Steve are talking about how Austin and Vanessa are definitely going to possibly, definitely will probably try to work together at some point, which I definitely do see happening, because, they've been very close, and the only reason that they weren't close anymore is, of course, when Vanessa went to Clay and Shelly over Austin and Liz. That really is what kind of made them not as close. So essentially, Julia ends up being renommed, and now we get into tonight's episode, which tonight's episode I thought was really great. Basically, they're trying to come up with a strategy of what to do here. Liz doesn't really want to do much campaigning, obviously, because she's with Julia, and she feels really bad about it. While, again, I don't really like Liz, I do kind of like the bonding between these two. I think it's sweet that they have each other's back. I do like seeing that. And I know a lot of people aren't fans of the twins, but I like the emotional moments between them. I do. I think it was sweet what they said. I do enjoy it, and it was nice to see. I enjoyed it. But basically, they talk about really what needs to happen here, and Vanessa offers Austin Liz a deal, and this was very interesting, what she says, and, I think what she says was partially reasonable, and then partially like, no, that's not gonna happen. Most of what she says here is completely obvious, most of it, because she gives them 3 conditions. One, that if, she goes up, that Steve and Johnny Mac are targets and she's not. 2, that they can backdoor her. But here's the thing, Vanessa. If that were to happen, they really would have no choice. You would have gone up anyway. So basically, that's nothing. And 3, if one of them makes it to jury, to vote in her favor, and I really feel that's pushing it. Liz can tell right away she does not want to do this, she does not agree to this, but she only agrees to it to get herself further in the game, which I thought was smart of her, and basically it seems like Julia is the one that is going to jury at this point. We do get to see jury again, which I like seeing. It really doesn't seem like they're focusing much on the game, though. It seemed like they were definitely focusing more on the game before, but it seemed like Shelly really is the only one that's really focusing on, who do we want to win here. Shelly really seems to be the only one. Jackie and Becky are kind of chilling. Meg, and James are hanging out and everything. James is probably having the time of his life because he's with all these girls who are, some of them are attractive and some of them are not. Shelly really is not for me, I think. Jackie and Becky, that'd be awesome. I will say that. In a jury house with Jackie and Becky, that would be like paradise. But someone like Shelly, who can get kind of annoying at times, I don't really know. That'd be Meg, I'd be fine with as well, because she's really fun, and I really do love seeing her this. I think, as I said, while she really hasn't done anything, she was very fun to watch this season, much like Julia. Julia, as I said, just didn't really get to do a lot, and I feel she could have done more, but she really didn't do a lot, and basically, in the eviction, I did like the speech that Liz said that, her and Julie have been together since day 1, and that now they're going to leave together, and that's, they are going to be split apart, and that's really sad for her. It was really sweet. I like seeing it, because even though Liz is kind of a bitch, I will admit that, she's very bitchy, she's very annoying, I thought it was sweet that she does say, despite all of what's happened, that she does still care about Julia, that she always will care about Julia, and that it matters to her. I thought that was very sweet. I like seeing also the house guests getting messages from their family. I think that's very sweet to see. Was that not Austin's ex-girlfriend? I think it was, and I'm really hoping it is, because it had to be really awkward for Liz, and that could have been really funny. I don't know if it is, but that could be very interesting, but that could have been very interesting, and I don't know if it was, but ultimately they end up getting rid of Julia, which I don't know why. I really don't. I don't think this was a smart decision at all. I think this is going to come back to bite Vanessa in the ass, and I really feel... Now, there are two things that I will say here. One, the thing with Liz is that she's not really well liked by any of the jury. You can see that they don't really like the Oz twins at all. And the reason is because they were not very good social players. They pretty much were kind of isolated with just themselves, and Liz, Austin, Julia really didn't have much interaction with the other members of the jury. So that's really why I personally feel they really haven't done any. They really don't have a very good chance of winning. I don't think Liz does, and I don't think Austin does either. I think it was sweet that Julia says she does approve of Liz and Austin's relationship because she basically had to. I don't know if they're going to make it to Christmas. I really don't. I think that's kind of pushing it. Julie asking if they're going to get married. I'm like, okay, Julie, stop living in your fantasy. Seriously, that's not going to happen. We know Austin and Liz probably going to last as long as Amanda McRae. If you guys know what happened to Amanda McRae, that wasn't very long at all. They lasted, I think, till like February of the end of Big Brother 15, when Amanda realized that McRae was kind of a jackass, and I kind of like Amanda Zuckerman now. Now that she's out of the Big Brother house, but that's a different story. If you guys have seen her YouTube channel, you guys know why. But basically, what ends up happening is, of course, that now, the other good thing, though, is that I think Vanessa did make a really bad move, because if Liz wins HOH and gets rid of Vanessa, she could have a very good chance of winning. She could, definitely. I mean, she will definitely make it to Final 2 if she gets rid of Vanessa, and I think this was a really bad move on Vanessa's part. I know that Vanessa says she wants to work with Liz, but Julia, to me, is very much like getting rid of someone like Victoria, or, say, Daniel Murphy from Big Brother 14, or someone like, let me think of Big Brother 15, Spencer, those kind of people. There's someone to keep around to get votes and to guarantee that you will win that final vote. That's really what I think Vanessa should have done here, and I don't really think she thought this over very well. I know Liz and Julia made the decision, but I think Vanessa shouldn't have agreed to it. I think if Vanessa would have gone and said something different, I think that could have been interesting, and I would have liked to see what happened there, but that's not what happened. Julia left, and now we have an egg competition, which I'm not a fan of at all. I hate egg competitions. I can't tell you guys how much I hate the egg competitions. I think they're really annoying. I think they're really time-consuming, and I'm really not a fan of them. They're not fun to watch, and it looked like Austin was winning, so we'll have to see what happens there. Now, I know you guys are like, what the hell are you going to do next week? Because they have Big Brother on, like, there's like 2 evictions next week. I'm not going to do what I did last week. Last year, what I did was I reviewed Tuesday and Wednesday's episode in the same video. Not going to do that. I'm going to review Tuesday's eviction, Wednesday's eviction, and that's going to be it for me, because then you guys won't see me till finale night. So we're really getting into it. You know, when 2 evictions happen the same week, then you know you're really getting down to the finale, and at this point, I really do see Steve leaving. Then I think it's going to be very interesting to see if Liz wins HOH, though, she very much could make a big move and get rid of Vanessa, because I think if Liz did get rid of Vanessa, some of them she would be able to, I think, to sway some of the house guests to do, but we'll have to see what happens there. Let me know what you guys thought of this week. Do you think that Julie was the right person to go? I personally don't think it was right. Who do you think? Do you think Vanessa really is playing a great game? I really feel she is. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in my next video. Sorry there haven't been a lot of videos this week, guys. Really haven't had much to talk about. Had a lot going on this week, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for Girl Meets World, which will be delayed as well, because there is a football game in my high school. It's our rivalry high school, so I have to go to that because, one, I'm singing because I'm in a chorale group. I'm in a chorale, a choir, and a choir is singing there for the pregame, so I have to do that. 2, I want to go and support my school, obviously, so you guys probably won't see my Girl Meets World review until probably like 10 o'clock, so if you guys are wondering where it is, that's where it is, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will be for Girl Meets World, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.